Very good morning to all. Today we have discussed about the topic is namely the data collection and analysis. So here we are going to discuss the accepts of method validation and observation and the collection of data, a method of data collections and the sampling methods, data processing and analysis strategies, and the tools, data analysis, and with the package of hypothesis testing and so on. So now we are going to discuss the data collection and analysis. So what is data collections? So data is nothing but the systematic observation or systematic collecting the information that is called the data. So data is any information that has been collected, observed, generated or created to the validate original research findings. That is called the data. So what is data collections? What is the purpose of data collections? This process of a researcher collect the information needed to answer the research question. So we have a unpredictable question. We have a not clear the question. So during that time we need to collect the information. I mean the data collections. So the task of data collections begin after the making the process and research problem and design so on. Next, so as a researcher must decide which can be collected the data, how can they collect the data, and who will collect the data, and when to collect the data, and what are the results available, and credibility and analysis reporting, and skill of evaluator. So these kind of things as a researcher must decide and as well as the follows the things the how to data the collected and who will collect the data and credibility and analyze finally the analysis. These are all must decide the researcher. And the types of data, next we are going to discuss the types of data. The one is primary data, other one is secondary data. So what is primary data? The primary data is type of data research directly the collect from the main sources, and secondary is data refers to the already existing data produced by the previous researchers. And here the primary data includes the real time data, and secondary time is related to the post type of research. And collector will address the current research problem, but here itself is entirely different because the primarily collected the addresses previously existed research problem and can used in the address and current research problem as well as. And next, the accessing primary data includes the relative long process, but referring secondary data is quick and easy process. That is the major difference between the primary and secondary data collections. So norms to be considered for the data collection. So what are the norms? So what does it mean the norms? So as a researcher must be follow that the norms. So what are the norms? So when we start the write research article, research magazines, or thesis or dissertation, some other things, we need to follow some norms. So what are the norms we are going to discuss? The first one is the honesty and objectivity. So in our theme is honesty. We need to follow the honesty and objectivity and integrity and carefulness, very very important, the carefulness and criticism. So we need to discuss or debate the healthy criticism in our regarding our topic of a research topic. And after that criticism, there are respect for intellectual property and confidentiality and responsible publication and non-discrimination. It's very important one, the non-discrimination and legality, animal care, and finally human subject protection. It's a very important one for norms to be considered for the data collections. And the next one is very important one, the types of questionnaire. So questionnaire is nothing but question. That is called the questionnaire. So it has been classified closed-ended questionnaire and open-ended questionnaire. The difference between the open and closed-ended question is nothing but very slightly difference is there. You can see that the picture, I mean the differentiation. The open-ended question is allows free from answer, and closed-ended is limited answer options. So that is the major difference. Allows free from the answer, but here itself limited answer options. So the open-ended question is the questions include the word like what, how, where, when. Already previous videos we have discussed the research, how to come from the research. That is the when, how, where, why. This is the basic questions for. These are all include the open-ended questions. And closed-ended questions are common type of closed-ended questions, or a discriminative question, or the answer is yes or no, which means the multiple choice questions. And third one is that can be used to collect the qualitative data and can be used to collect the quantitative data. So already we have discussed in the previous videos the qualitative and the quantitative videos like this. And the fourth one is it takes longer to gather information from the responsible because they need to elaborate and give the reasons why. That is called open-ended questions. But slightly it's different. The closed-ended question is the completed in short of time frame because the answers are straight and direct to the point. And finally, the observation jobs to be done, interviews, focus groups, are a common data collections method, but here itself is entirely different. Surveys, polls, and questionnaire are common data collections, and so on. That is the major difference between the open-ended and closed-ended questionnaire. So next, the question sequence. So, what is question sequence? To achieve the best response rates, likewise the questions rate should flow from the least sensitive to the most sensitive. So that is the major difference between the question sequence. So questions should flow from the least sensitive to the most sensitive, from the factual, behavioral, the attitudinal, and from the more general, more specific, and use some positive statements, avoid the negative or double negatives, and so on. That is question sequence. So next we are going to discuss the sample. Sampling is the process of selecting observation and to provide the adequate description and difference the population. So you can see that the picture population small n and small n is sample. If you, why sample? What is the purpose of sample? Sample is the frame, listening the population from which a sample is chosen. So you can see the picture, the sampling frame, the blue color indicates the sampling frame, and the pink color is the total population. So we need to the what do you want to talk about the sampling frame, but here itself green color is sample, this circle type is sample. So what do you actually observe in the data, which means we need to observe the sample, the whole population. We need to collect the sample, then we can finally conclude the whole populations. So in general, the population is classified the two types. The one is homogeneous, the one is non-homogeneous. So the homogeneous mixture or heterogeneous mixture is the homogeneity is a uniform composition, and heterogeneity is a non-uniform composition, and it has the only one space, and there are two or more paces, which means the heterogeneous mixtures having two or more paces. And the homogeneous mixtures can be separated out physically. It cannot be separated out specifically, but the heterogeneous can be separated out physically. The homo means same, the hetero means difference. Already we know that, we don't go with the indelibly. And for example, the mixture of the alcohol and water, the best example of homogeneous mixture. The heterogeneous is the mixture of sodium chloride and sand. And further discussion is we are going to discuss the next video. And thank you for your kind attention.